Alright, welcome back, DestinysJesus here. In today's video, we're looking at the no mobility solo meta with Veno. He won this noble custom session here, so we're looking at some of his games from this, and he also is winning the one that's on right now with like a 7-kill win. He's playing insanely good, he knows how to play hype perfectly, and this is going to be the video for you guys if you want to be placing a DreamHack coming up, like this weekend, or if you're going to be placing any of the solo cash cups. This is going to be the video for you. It's honestly one of the best videos I've ever made. I really think it's going to be useful for you guys who want to get better at solos. Make sure to go check out the solos masterclass. I've got like 5 other videos coming up on there. Hopefully I'll try to get them all out before DreamHack Sweden on the actual solo meta for this season. Make sure to go check those videos out. Really useful things in there. And also make sure to like and subscribe as well. So for our spawn this season, it's basically the same as previous seasons. If you guys are more confident at fighting, I'd really recommend actually going to a POI rather than trying to do like a split drop. I find there's a lot of people doing the split drops and going for spiderwebs. But if you can land at a POI and you're confident at fighting, especially if you're obviously as good at fighting as Veno, you're going to have a really easy time of just fighting people consistently at that POI, and you also have the option to just disengage for decently most of them. Also, one thing to note is the hammer AR is actually really viable. I definitely think the hammer AR could be run instead of running an SMG at all, but here Veno actually takes the SMG as well, so as soon as he gets his left hand peak angle with the SMG, he's just able to jump straight in with the SMG and kill Kovacs. Again, simple stuff, just make sure you actually always drop the crown. You guys shouldn't be carrying around crowns in comp. It just makes it a little bit more obvious and you can get spotted more easy, especially in bushes and stuff. Always make sure to drop crowns. And you can see here, he's just going to play full edge of first zone. If you're landing at a POI, oftentimes people make the mistake of actually rotating out too early rather than just waiting for zone pill and then playing towards the edge. You see here, Veno's going to wrap a full way around. He's going to go ahead and actually go full dead side here and then come into the zone much later and have a really good spot. And most importantly, this means that he doesn't waste any shield or anything on his rotates. He doesn't need to force a really good position straight away on second zone. You can just simply do plays that he's doing here, like rotating late. So you can see he's basically skipped out all of this rotate here by doing that. So now he's fully in storm, doesn't need to worry about anything, and he can just cut in late and play edge, and of course he's way above surge, so you can get some easy tags from here as well on surge. The big mistake people make in solos is like trying to prioritize getting really center second, over forcing a rotate, and of course you can force a rotate early if you do it quick enough, so you don't be like one of the first people there, but you don't want to be moving too much too early. You're much better off waiting for a little bit later and then planning out your rotate once third zone shows up. So you can see here, when third zone shows up, because Veno is playing his edge, so where his POI was, and he was playing back in storm, and he comes on 8 seconds, he's basically just got a full dead side rotate late on third zone, so he's going to waste absolutely no shield or anything, or no mats on this rotate. You can very simply just run late. There's some things like throw shield kegs ahead, breaking them so he doesn't get spotted too much, and then he's going to go ahead and cut in from complete edge, just using line of sight, basically playing it like it's zero build, and then cutting in so late here, where he's completely isolated, and he actually gets into a really good spot on edge of third. Of course, this isn't the playstyle for everyone. If you guys don't really know how to do this, don't try to emulate it. Instead, just play for like center third, as obviously you can get really difficult zone rotates like this. But this rotate here is actually very easy to do. All of these players in front of you are going to try to rotate, and especially if they're close to zone, they're probably going to go somewhat early. So Veno's going to go ahead and just rotate, follow through old builds, follow all these trees, and he actually gets away with a lot here. But most importantly is he doesn't overcommit to doing the whole rotate in one go. He's going to just pause multiple times, like sit in bushes, sit in bases, just wait for other people to do the rotate. Make sure that you figure out exactly what's in front of you. So then when it comes and it's time to actually properly rotate, you can easily get a free rotate like he does here. Gets tagged once for 30 by a guy in the bush, and then now he's chilling in zone, and that rotate basically cost him like 20 builds at most, and he actually uses a little bit more builds to be higher up here, since obviously elevation is really crucial when there's no mobility. Okay, so on fourth zone, one of the key things that you need to be doing when it comes to playing with no grapple is to be making sure you invest mats into being in a good spot early. Right now, because the fact that Murstache is below him means that he's forced to rotate early and actually overbuild the majority of the rotate. Same with this guy here. He has to be worried about Veno shooting in the back, so he has to build the majority of the rotate. And that means that Veno's going to have a free recycle on those rotates in a second, and it's also less likely to get told because there's builds that you can follow. Also very nicely, because he's in this pretty good spot, he's going to bait and actually bait the fact that he's gone early in a second here, and just wait for these other players to actually come into him so he can go for a refresh. He doesn't need to move yet because obviously Zone's expanding towards him, so he gets a really free kill on Moneymaker, which should have monkey rotate straight towards him. Very simple stuff. And then right here he also realises that he's got a load of extra hard mats that he can actually use for this rotate, so he actually builds fully in with these mats, and then goes back and actually gets another kill here on someone on the loop. Again, you're going to get so many opportunities if you play high layers. Obviously, you play smart angles around those layers. As you can see that Veno got there, he basically got two full refreshes from those two players, and now he's extremely stacked going into 50-50 zone, and he's already got his rotate built for him as well. One very nice thing that he actually does as well here, as you can see, is the fact that he's actually gone ahead and isolated himself a little bit from everyone else. He's gone further into where the expanding side is, to over here towards where the 50% zone was out. So you can see he's actually now got the option to actually maybe do a dead side rotate, run through these old builds. That would be a really cheap rotate option. And if it obviously pulled a little bit more to the left hand side over here, more to the north, he'd have a really free rotate that he could do following all these things. But of course, he's not going to do one of those early rotates. Instead, he's going to go ahead and wait for other people. Again, he's got this high ground advantage. He can just wait for other people to rotate for him and have really simple and free rotates. So you can see Veno's not gone ahead and early rotate with dead side. He wants to see if anyone else is going to start a rotate before him, or if there's something he can capitalize on, like another refresh they could potentially go for. And then he actually does a really nice timing on this rotate. He doesn't go as Storm is hitting him, or a few seconds before. He actually goes like a full 8 seconds, as you can see here, into dead side. So he's just going to sprint into dead side and not build a single thing. Of course, he's getting ready to build when he's holding builds out, but he basically just runs the whole way into dead side, and there's only one person in this entire 50% of zone when there's about 40 plus people alive, and he gets this entire rotate for free, and he's just being very vigilant and running on edge of storm completely and not building anything. I think a lot of people make the mistake here of running and building everything in case they get looked at, but realistically, who is going to be looking over this side of zone apart from this one player in the back who he's aware of? The minute he covers off that angle, now he spots that he's getting looked at from the front side, so he builds a little bit, and it actually makes a really nice play, which is not stopping here. He doesn't want to stop and get caught quite isolated on the backside, because then maybe Mappy could set up and hold him. So what he's going to go ahead and do is tactical sprint, jump over, get the whole way front side, doesn't stop straight away. He does a cheap tap for one box, then he boxes up, and he actually gets to get to the refresh here on this player trying to rotate, who actually waited a second back there and was going too late. If you actually rotate through dead side and you wait for too long, that's how you get caught, that's how you get punished. So you need to make sure that you go quite early, like Veno did, about 10 seconds left on clock, you start running. Obviously hold your builds out the whole way so you don't get cracked, since obviously you get servered. And now he's in such a good position where he's the whole way on the front side, and he's still on dead side. Of course, dead side on 50-50 actually applies the whole way through moving, so you're going to see here. He's in such an isolated position, there's only 3 people in his entire side of zone. This rotate's going to be extremely free for him in a second. At this point, he's got the grapplers. If you guys are playing for grapplers, this is how you want to use it in moving zone. It's basically just trying to do one short swing and then stop. So many people make the mistake of doing too many big swings. They try to get the whole way front side and they have to tarp for the rest of the zone. Just do one swing. Try to get like maybe like 25% towards the front of zone. So I'll try to show that. So you're going to try to get like near front side of zone, but not the whole way front side. You don't just keep on swinging until you get front side. Get like 25% towards the front of zone. Obviously you don't get caught backside with it, and then now he's just going to chill here, wait some opportunities, wait some hold kills, make sure everything's reloaded, and he's going to get ready to grapple again. You don't just do multiple grapples, you keep on going the whole way. That's how you get caught, that's how you get put into bad layers. Instead, just do pauses, don't let Storm catch the whole way up to you. He's going to use dead side again with his grapple, uses it, gets up for a second, and then he's going to pause in the end of zone here and start looking for a kill. One thing you'll notice, whenever he boxes up, he always tries to make sure that he's got like a little bit of space whenever he looks for something. Of course, if you're not looking for anything, you can just get away with the 1x1, but if you're looking for something, it's always better to look from a 2x1. Just doubles the amount of edits and angles that you're going to have to hold people. Okay, so as second moving pulls, this is kind of the zone that everyone is struggling with in solos, just because it pulls so far. If you don't have a grapple, you're going to be in a really bad spot at this point. You can rotate without the grapple, but you have to do quite a lot of sprinting and actually cheap tarping as well. But Veno's a really nice player here, which is as soon as zone pulls, as soon as it switches, he actually does a really cheap way of actually getting up players, and he actually spots the high grounds completely free. People are not playing height in solos at the moment. No one knows how to, especially with pads being gone and risks being taken out. No one knows how to play height. So he simply just gets up the hill early. He was trying to get to a good layer, spotted the height was free on backside, and then from here on out he's going to have a really free height game. He should make sure that he stays front side and connects, of course. Connects once, then he goes up a layer, make sure where he's connected isn't too weak, since a lot of people try chopping out ramps. And now he's in a really good position where he can just hold everyone below him. Spray second height, we can just skip through this. You guys know how to play height in solos at this point. Make sure you stay nice angles like this. You can see here, he doesn't go straight above these people. He goes a little bit wide, and he's connected to metal, so he can't get chopped out too easily. He goes wide so you can see the people sneaking on him, and see the people that are second height as well, right below him like X-Force. One important thing when you're trying to play height, or just in general in solos, is to make sure that you don't overcommit to something. Here you can see he actually goes for this play, goes for this refresh. This is completely fine to do because he does it so quickly. You don't want to just overcommit for something, and what I mean by this is have like a timer in your head of how long you can be doing something. You can be going for a refresh for like 4 or 5 seconds, and as soon as that timer is over and you're not getting that refresh, you need to be focused on what you're going to do next, like going back up to height, maintaining your tarp, you need to be moving front side. If you're trying to go for a refresh for too long, you're going for a refresh like 8 seconds, that's how you get caught backside, that's how you get punished by someone who's gone to front side and overtaking your spot in zone. So you can see that Veno does a play instinctively, does it really quickly, and gets a refresh in like 2 seconds, and is immediately straight back up on height. Also, one thing you guys should know is that, of course, you can grapple stuff with the grapple. I don't know why Veno didn't grapple his mats, I don't think he saw them. You can actually get away with grappling. A lot of loot is extremely broken to do. Just mark it, I think it's like 35 meters, and you can get away with grappling it, and you can get really sacked from it. From here on out, as you can see, zone pulls downhill, so Veno's not going to aggro or anything. Instead, he's just going to stay up on height, uses armored floors really nicely, and all he needs to do is just actually go ahead and pressure all of these people down. Most importantly, he's to worry about second height. If he was to make the mistake of dropping straight on Janus's head right now, as you can see, there's actually a chance that Janus could play in still with floppers. That's going to make it really awkward for Veno. Veno honestly should be worrying about Janus more than anyone else, since he's the main threat. But she does a nice play here, which is going over towards front side and then connecting. And now he's set up in a position where he can actually watch back and look at Janus. Of course, that's just having the grappler makes it so much more freedom to do things in the end game. One thing you should notice is just how thorough he is actually making sure that he's tracking all the players. You can see there's 5 players left. You can like see 1 or 2 maybe on low ground. That means that people are playing in Storm, and obviously the audio cues of people playing in Storm aren't the best this season, so you need to make sure you're always monitoring and being alert and aware on people and where they are in the game. Okay, right here you can see one of the players died, so it's actually a 1v1v1, so 4 people up. And this is where it actually really is important that you try to stay on high. I think Veno sort of misplays this by aggroing the guy that he tagged a little bit. Of course, he does need the refresh, and the refresh will guarantee him the win. So he actually aggroes this a little bit. But one thing that Veno always does, he's done this since All Stars, is he always tries to drop down and aggro things too much and actually commits them on rather than just staying up on night. If he has a few builds here, or if he just stays and let's say farms the tree or farms a bit of the building, he could easily just be in a really comfortable position to watch for people coming up on height. And that's actually how he lost All Stars, just because he commits down trying to fight people too early. Luckily, he has actually improved his aim a little bit, so he maxes Janus right there, gets all the loot from that, and right now he's got a really easy win that he actually manages to milk somehow in the second. So you can see he cracks on the players, the other guy gets the kill, but you can see that it actually got cracked. And at this point, if you're in a 1v1, you know the other guy needs to heal. All you need to do is just pressure him and get away that mat advantage. The other guy's just got Cypher mats plus whatever he had before off the other player. So all you need to do is just pressure, 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 and this should be a really simple win, since of course the other guy is double white. So you can see here, pretty big Veno milk, I can't lie. He's just gone ahead and actually messed up his grapple. Now he's got grappler recharge, he can't get up, awful movement, messed up his grapple, and then loses a 1v1 to a guy who's 10 HP. Honestly, should never lose that in 100 years. All you need to do is just sit on high and spray, and you did the mistake of actually going down and trying to take the fight when he shouldn't have. Either way, very well played game by Veno. Appreciate him sending me the VOD, I guess.